Welcome to the Omnibus Show, a program for people who are interested in everything, with deep conversations on a wide variety of subjects. And now your host, Dave Gibbs.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Omnibus Show, the program for people who are interested in everything, with deep conversations on a wide variety of subjects. Today's guest is Seward. She's the second vice president Corporate Communications and Community Engagement with Human Resources for Allied Solutions here in Carmel, Indiana. Welcome, Kara. It's great to have you here with us today. That's a lot. You do a lot. We're going to talk a bit about all the many different things you do for the corporation, which has this really great location in the center of our town. You have you're the gateway to the Monon Boulevard.
Certainly.
So you've got I would be a daydreamer if I just look out the window all day and it's like, Dave, we need you to work on a project. It's like, oh, it's so beautiful today.
Yeah. Well, as you mentioned, we're headquartered. Allied Solutions is headquartered in Midtown Plaza here in Carmel, Indiana. And, I got to say, one of the first warm days, I started in January, and one of the first warm days was St. Patrick's Day. And the March Madness was going on.
March Madness.
And the whole Midtown Plaza was full of people.
Just crazy.
And I was stuck in the office looking at them, having all that fun.
Because out at, who's it below you? The Sun
Tucker?
King.
Oh, Sun King, yeah.
They've got a big TV screen that draws the public, and they'll watch the TV programs, the basketball games from that location. So, yeah, that'd be hard not to be a daydreamer there. Well, please tell us about you do an incredible lot for the company and the community, but please start off by telling us about Allied Solutions and what you do.
Sure. So Allied Solutions, headquartered here in Carmel, Indiana. We have about 1,800 employees, and about 750 live here in the greater central Indiana area. But Allied Solutions provides risk management, lending, deposit, and data-driven solutions for financial institutions. So our clients are primarily in the credit union industry, auto dealers, and banks.
Wow, because in the name itself, Allied Solutions sounds to me kind of like a software, but the term allied is used a lot in, as you said, in auto. That's used a lot in the auto industry, so that is fascinating.
Well, and the name really for Allied Solutions comes from our history and how our company was founded. It was multiple different companies that came together to form Allied Solutions.
Allied Solutions, which is a great name. And now you have a unique department. Your department is, I would say, traditionally marketing, but you are embedded within HR, and that's a unique location. All corporations have unique structure, and that's something that is fascinating on how you do that. Can you explain that to us?
Sure.
Because that is unique.
Yes, it is. But it really has great benefits for the employee experience, as well as supporting recruitment of talent and retaining talent as well. So our team that I lead is our corporate communications and community engagement team, and we are embedded in our HR department. But that really means that our focus is on internal communications for employees, kind of maintaining that employee experience once you're onboarded. But also really fostering and supporting the development of a strong employer brand out in the community. And so that means a company that employees or potential candidates are interested or are seeking employment with Allied Solutions, that we continue to raise our profile as an employer that future candidates are interested in pursuing a career at.
Yes. Now, within that, you do a lot of things you do internal communications and external communications, as well as philanthropic donations and employee volunteerism for the community. You've got a lot of hats. Can you share with us what that all entails, because it's very interesting. A lot of people, many people work for corporations, many people work for themselves, or they'll work for like a particular group or their own company. They're doing their own business. But having been in operations, it's always fascinating to me to learn about how companies work. And you have a unique location in how you interact with your company, and you're B2B, which is business to business. So people are most likely to know about the name unless they'll know the name, but the thing is they're not going to roll around to drive up to get a hamburger there. But you are involved in quite a bit with internal communications and external communications. So you're both doing the HR part, and you're also doing marketing, aren't you, with that? Can you tell us a little bit about how you balance that, because you've just come out with a report?
Definitely. So, Dave, you bring up a great point, that we are unique in our structure in some ways, that we have our team embedded in our HR department, but it really was a strategic decision from our executive leadership, determining that because we are a B2B company, we really needed to set ourselves apart as an employer and help that overall employer brand to attract and retain talent.
Yes.
So it's kind of the strategic thought process behind kind of embedding our team within HR. And I've been with the company for 2 years, and that structure's been in place since I arrived, and it seems to be a really fruitful and beneficial way for us to structure our department and really support the overall goals of the overall employee experience at Allied. But it means that you're right, we have a large portfolio. We do quite a lot. I have a fantastic team. We have 4 members of our team who support the work that we do, and couldn't do it without them. So very excited to have them on board. But we do, again, those internal communications as well as some of the external communications around employer brand, but we're also responsible for our community engagement. So that means our corporate donations, supporting community engagement and supporting nonprofits in our community, as well as supporting and developing opportunities for employees to volunteer in their community as well. And we do that here in Carmel and at our other office locations across the country.
So that's great. You have, so you're in charge of the corporate philanthropic donations, but also, can you tell us about how you do employee volunteerism? Because I think a lot of people especially who have companies, would love to learn about how, the volunteer aspect of that, how you do that. So could you tell us about how you involve your employees in the community?
Sure thing. So about 2 years ago, Dave, we embarked on a research phase. We really wanted to see where our employees were interested in spending their time in the community, what causes really drove them, what they were passionate about in the community, and where they wanted to see their company reflected in their communities. And so after some surveying and some focus groups, we established 4 key funding priorities. And these included honoring heroes, financial stability, vibrant communities, as well as youth health, wellness, and mentorship. And each of these are how we now look through a lens in our community philanthropic and volunteerism work. So everything that we're doing now is funneled through one of these key areas that we really want to make a big impact in. It really focuses and narrows our impact.
Sure. And since this is for the community, can you run through those for us one more time? Not just doing a list of names, but what do you do for the community for each of the
Sure.
4 points?
Sure. So honoring heroes is an opportunity for us to support and recognize those who have served in the armed forces.
Yes.
And, we have a couple of our executive leaders, both Pete Hilger and Dave Hilger, are veterans. And it really is something that was a historic area of giving that we had always been involved in, but we're using this to amplify how we involve ourselves and how we volunteer. And then we have financial stability is really focusing on the basic needs of our neighbors. So whether it's housing insecurity or food insecurity, we're working to make sure that all of our neighbors have what they need to survive and thrive within our community.
Just a point on that is that in times past, before we were in school, and I'm a few more days down the road from you, is that they used to have courses at school like home ec, and also they would show you about balancing a budget and stuff. They don't do that in school now, which is a shame. But this sounds like you're providing some kind of educational aspect for that.
Yeah, so it casts a pretty wide net in terms of what we support, but it's where, for example, some of our work with United Way of Central Indiana falls into. And so they're helping those who are working but can't quite make ends meet. They call it the ALICE population, asset limited, income constrained. I can't remember what
All those acronyms.
A lot of acronyms, but essentially
it's
someone who has 1 or 2 jobs but just can't make the rest of it to make their budget, whether it be for childcare, housing needs, food, medical needs, those sorts of things. And so United Way has a group of organizations, community-based organizations that they work with who really focus on each of those areas,
Yes.
Helping folks. And then back to our community priorities, vibrant communities.
Vibrant communities.
It's our engagement in civic, arts, sustainability. Again, it's a pretty wide portfolio, but it allows us to essentially make sure that our community looks and feels like us. It looks and feels like everyone in the community, and that everyone has an opportunity to experience some great cultural aspects that are available in our communities.
And that's really good for civics because it involves people with the community around them. And I think just kind of the way things are today, that's really needed is and also when people, we used to be a suburb. I wouldn't call us a suburb now. We're sort of a destination city, if you will. Not like Las Vegas, but its own. There's other things
Sure.
that make it such. But that makes it incumbent upon leaders in the community to pull people in to be involved, because the traditional thing, at least since 40, 50 years ago, is just to drive to work and come home. Kids go to school, you and your spouse have dinner with the kids and all the other stuff, but it's like a commuter location. And when I was young, they used to call those bedroom communities. I grew up in a bedroom community in northern Indiana. This is a suburb where, Dad spent most of his time out of town. And so when that being here, and we have a lot of civics opportunities, that just, and we'll talk more about that in chapter 2. And then your 4th point is on youth health.
Youth health, wellness, and mentorship. So that encompasses a variety of things in terms of children's health and research for health issues, as well as supporting kids as they're growing up.
Yeah, well, that's helpful. I mean, more and more we're having to have 2-income families where the mom and the dad are both working, and they've got to work out some kind of schedule, either grandma, grandpa, or something with school, you know what I mean? And then to have that kind of mentorship is really helpful. And you've come out with your first report, haven't you?
Yes. So all of this led up to the publication.
Show that to the camera.
publication of our community impact report. And this really demonstrates our first full year of our community engagement strategy focused on those 4 key priority areas. It shows the impact that we made in our community from volunteer hours as well as philanthropic dollars.
Very nice.
Yeah. And what's fantastic is through this 1 year, we have always had philanthropic donations and employee volunteerism, but we aimed to grow that. And so from 2022 to 2023, we actually saw a 317% increase in employee volunteerism.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's a huge jump.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And we really focused on providing providing employees more volunteer opportunities in all of our offices on a quarterly basis. Then we also introduced a new employee benefit. We provided 8 hours of volunteer time off, so our employees could go use that volunteer time to support any nonprofit organization that they felt a real passion for.
Now, that's important. Rather than, because there are companies that just kind of put a jersey on you or a T-shirt, and you go to this place, jump up and down, where you're allowing the employees to go to what they would, the nonprofit or what volunteer group they would like to help in the community, and that can only help esprit de corps.
Exactly. And if one of these 4 funding priorities really isn't where they're most passionate about in their community, let's say they're an animal activist and they want to go work at their humane society, this volunteer time off allows them to go do that. And the other benefit is we have some remote employees, and so who aren't based in offices, and that allows them to participate in the in the corporate culture of community giving without having to be located in an office.
Yes. Here's somebody calling in and saying, Kara, I can't come in today. I just adopted 300 dogs and cats. No, that sounds really, really good. Well, we'll pick up more on this on Chapter 2. We're going to take a brief break right now, and we'll be back for Chapter 2 with Kara Seward on the Omnibus Show. Well, welcome back to Chapter 2. We're here speaking with Kara Seward today, and she is the second vice president of corporate communications and community engagement with Allied Solutions here in Carmel, Indiana. So you were telling us about your involvement with the community and Allied's business-to-business relationships and how you work that way and have your unique relationship within the HR department. And, to pick up where we were on some of the external groups that you work with, which is good to learn about because I love doing civics. I stepped away for family reasons, but plan to get back into it. But you are involved outside of the company. And could you tell us a little bit about that on your United Way and also your Gala Committee for the Community for Performing Arts?
Sure. Well, I'll start with that one, Dave. The Gala Committee with the Center for Performing Arts is an opportunity that came to me through working at Allied Solutions. Allied Solutions is a season sponsor of the Center for Performing Arts.
Oh, great.
And so we have a strong relationship with them.
So you keep them open.
Yes. But they do a good job of themselves, of the amazing programming that they offer.
Yeah.
But each year, the Center for Performing Arts has one huge fundraiser.
Yeah.
And that's the gala. Yep. And I get to serve on that committee and help host the gala and make sure everybody has a great time. And this year, the gala will be on Saturday, September 21st. So I'll put a plug in for that. Tickets and tables are available and on sale now.
Are they online?
They are online, yes.
Okay,
At the
so
Center
we'll
for
put
Performing
those
Arts.
in the description notes for those who'd like to attend.
Yep.
And also your page for Allied Solutions.
Perfect.
I'll put in the description notes.
Great.
And but please carry on.
Sure. So Allied Solutions also has a really strong partnership with the United Way of Central Indiana. And we're actually, this fall will be our 15th annual United Way campaign that we host with our employees. And through that, I came across an opportunity to join the United Way of Central Indiana's Leadership United program. And this program is really it's a 9-month program that prepares individuals who are interested in serving on nonprofit boards to be an effective board member.
Okay.
And so,
Now, is this a national program, or is this just unique to Central Indiana?
So I believe it's unique to Central Indiana in the United Way chapter here. But I wouldn't be surprised if there were replica programs under different titles, United Way chapters across the country.
Yeah. On the sort of educational part of the program, there are a lot of people in business who, after they get to a certain plateau, they like to get involved in community and in nonprofits and boards, and many people will like to get on boards. So this is a good program. Can you tell us a little bit more about how someone in that situation this program would help them on board with a nonprofit?
Certainly. So the opportunity through Leadership United gives you an opportunity to either dive into your area of expertise and offer your services and expertise to a nonprofit board in that way. But it also gives you an opportunity to go off and do something completely different. So if you, like to your point, if you've reached a plateau in your career, but you're interested in maybe going into a different area or a different, offering your skill set, but applying it in a different way, there's an opportunity to do that through a nonprofit board. They are, I find the nonprofits are very welcoming and open to professionals offering any type of experience that they have, particularly seasoned folks who have connections and have an opportunity to elevate the profile of the nonprofit they're serving.
And would it be true to say that this program would be for onboarding the business people who want to get involved in on boards, that would be a strong tie with for the nonprofits and the corporate, a part of like what you're doing, really, because it really suits what you do. And you see what I'm saying, is bringing the civic and the corporate together, where you're providing solutions for people. That is where I think there's corporate does a really good job in. There's different things out there, but from what you've shared with us, that is really well, your story is unique. That's kind of why I went right into all these different things you do, because this is a unique corporate relationship, and also where you're located within your company. Now, I usually start this at the beginning, but kind of to come back to what drew you in this direction to get on the pathway to get where you're at here. And really what I'm saying is that to get to this being a vice president in corporate communications and community engagement, because that's quite a link.
So really the position that came up at Allied Solutions, again, about 2 years ago, was really intriguing to me because it married two of my interests, both personally and professionally. So it had the element of corporate communications, which I have, pursued my education and career in those areas.
Yes.
But I've also had a side of my career that has been very focused on civic engagement and giving back. And so this opportunity to lead both of these teams and have both of these items in my portfolio really offered me an opportunity to have both that professional experience backed up by passion around what I was working on.
Yeah. So that that kind of allows you to be in the office, but also you get to go out and you get involved in the community around there. And
definitely gives you an opportunity to meet a whole lot of people, make connections, and really feel as if you're giving back in a corporate setting, which is unique.
That is unique. I mean, you're very unique from other corporate constructs in terms of how marketing, how HR, and how the volunteer and philanthropic aspects are involved. Indiana University has a whole department on the philanthropic side of that, and so that is fascinating. Well, Kara, can you tell us a little bit about, because the HR aspect, people that you're looking for, and also what is coming up, events coming up. Now, you have aforementioned the gala that's coming up, but please tell us what's coming up for you here in the near future.
Sure. Well, this publication was our biggest thing out of Q1, so we're really thrilled to have our community impact report published and out there.
Yes.
We'll be doing some promotions, continued promotions around that. This highlights some of our community partners as well as some of our employee volunteers. We have our 15th annual United Way campaign coming up this fall. The gala that I already mentioned with the Center for Performing Arts. And, we have each quarter, we're really trying to focus on a key area of our giving portfolio.
Yes.
And Q2, we've focused on sustainability. April is both Earth Day, Earth Month, and Arbor Day are all wrapped up into April. And
kind of an earthy month.
It is an earthy month. So we're spending all of Q2 really focused on sustainability efforts.
Okay.
And I'm really pleased to share that we actually just developed a new partnership with the Arbor Day Foundation.
Okay.
And so we will be doing a tree planting here locally with
That's great.
Keep Indianapolis Beautiful, which is an affiliate of the Arbor Day Foundation. And then we're also going to be partaking in their program called Tree Canopy. Or Canopy Community, and it will allow for our employees to order a tree that is specified to their area, so it's native to their area.
Oh, okay.
And
yes.
what Arbor Day will do is they use geolocation and allow you and essentially tell you where on your property would be an ideal place to plant it for the most benefit from a sustainability aspect. And then we get a report out on how many trees were planted and how much greenhouse gas emissions were saved by these trees. So it's a really neat program.
You can always plant more trees.
Exactly.
And that's from my dog.
Well, in the city of Carmel,
more trees.
Yeah, the city of Carmel is a Tree City USA, so they have that designation. So it really fits with both where we're located and some of those key areas where we want to grow our impact.
Yeah, there's the state has, and you may be working with them, has down in Jasper, I think there's a location up north, but down in Jasper they have a nursery where you can get all different sizes of trees.
Oh, neat.
and
I wasn't aware of
varietals.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I got some red maples and shared it with friends about a decade ago.
Nice.
But Jasper, you can do that. You order all these little budding trees or larger ones.
Okay.
And they're indigenous to Indiana. So that's a very interesting.
I love that.
Yeah, very fun. Well, one last question. I'd like to ask you about, because you have such a unique structure in your company, what advice would you give to someone out there, one of our listeners, who's developing or has developed a corporate structure, and how they could develop their program that would be really beneficial for the company and particularly for their employees, that would make it a healthy, because it looks like you're really reaching to have a healthy involvement. And I think it's meaningful when you have employees involved in their community. You can't spend all of your life doing that, but having a project to look forward to and that's beneficial to people. What advice would you have for these people?
I would definitely say lean into your culture. Make sure that your culture is reflective of your employees. One of the things that we really are focused on is making sure there's an opportunity for two-way feedback with employees. So not only have we offered them an opportunity to give us survey feedback or participate in focus groups, we've also established a community engagement committee, and that's led by 9 employees from all over, and representative of all of our offices, as well as remote employees, that give us an opportunity for us to learn more about their community, because my team is headquartered here in Carmel. So learning more about where their communities and what's important in their communities, but also having them be essentially ambassadors within their offices to really support continued community engagement. So it's really just creating that opportunity for two-way feedback for employees.
Great. Well, thank you very much. And we hope that will be helpful to our listeners out there who want to develop a stronger company and a really healthy esprit de corps with their corporate team. Well, thank you, Kara. It's great having you on today. Thank you so much for being with us. And we'd like to thank our sponsor, Hotel Carmichael. We're shooting today from Feinstein's, and we look forward to being with you in the next episode of the Omnibus Show.
If you enjoyed this program, please like, share, and subscribe to continue the conversation. For the Omnibus Show newsletter, please sign up at theomnibusshow.com.